Hey everyone, today we are in Mount Mora Cemetery, which is in St. Joseph, Missouri. And this is really quite the cemetery. There are a lot of people in here, probably around 11,000. It's not real big area-wise, but they are a little packed in here maybe. But it's pretty interesting. A lot of beautiful monuments and markers just all over the cemetery on these little hills. And it's sort of in the middle of a neighborhood. So I'm really here to see one person, although there are other notable people in the cemetery, politicians mainly. But I'm sure that there are other people that are important to the area and the history of St. Joseph, as this is the oldest cemetery that they have. So we're going to see that person here in just a second. But I thought I would show you this. These little mausoleums here, it just looks like a city. And I know cemeteries are often referred to as the city of the dead or something, but I mean, these look like structures that people live in with their little porches. And they're all different. That's the McCord over there. Nice big one with columns. And lots of steps up to it. Check out this one right here with the Egyptian influence. Seen this in cemeteries before, but only on larger mausoleums, not so much the littler ones. And they even have lampposts that are here to the side of that. But you can see each one of these is completely different. And I'm sure these are notable people that could be looked up. This is Marlowe. There are no dates on it. I guess maybe that is right up there, 1893. 1891 right here for Owen. And that is Krug, 1891. And looks like Bernez. No date on that at all. Just a sort of Celtic cross at the top. This one looks like it even has a stained glass window in it. Completely different. These are absolutely eye-catching. Look at the metalwork on the door. There's a cage up front, but then back behind the handles to the door and the hinges. This is Powell. Do not see a date on that. Crowther or Crowther, and he was a Mason. 1892. A lot of different ones here. 1893 for Self. I mean, these are some of the most beautiful mausoleums all right here in a row together. And look at the doors on that. Got sort of that patina look going on there. Mater. No date on that. This is Higher or Here, 1900. Burgess, and I do not see a date on that. Wickerland, 1901. Floyd, it's 1890. Look at these little sort of hitching posts, like for your horse, I guess. Bauer. This has to be one of the most unique ones ever. This was what really caught my eye as I was driving around and looking. But this is Jacob Geiger, medical doctor, 1848 to 1934, and his wife, Louise Cowlitz Geiger, 1863 to 1936. I mean, look at the stonework on this. Sort of a tile look. Out in the open with the chains. All the little intricate details up through there. Little oak leaf looking type things and plants. And then just that sort of crypt that's out in the open on top. This is Toothaker and Schroer. Dr. Wayne Toothaker, September 1914 to April 14th, 1950. Then obviously a Dr. Benjamin Toothaker relative, June 20th, 1875 to August 4th, 1933. There's a couple infants down on the bottom. Here is Ford. We have William H. Bartlett, no date on that. We have Farley. Love those doors on that one. And then some of these are newer. That's 2005, and this one has not yet passed, or at least there are no dates on it. This is 2017 for Catherine Farley with the last name Haley. And then Richardson. But it really is an impressive sight as you drive through here. And it's almost difficult to look at anything else in the cemetery. But there are a lot of amazing markers, and this is something that I'm going to have to come back to. I do have some other things that I want to see and visit and film in St. Joseph. I'm here on a Sunday, and the sun is going down. Looks like it's going to rain. There's a lot of other things to see, and a lot of other history and museums to explore. But you can see there are also other little mausoleums, above ground crypts, graves, different styles. They're all different. This one almost looks like a bathtub, but it also looks like sort of a coffin. All this stuff is just sort of on these hills here. You can see that one has fallen. And I think that they take pretty good care of this cemetery. And I can see flags in places where they're going to make some repairs maybe. This ground, I think they've had some snow in the area, so this ground is really soft. That's how I would explain it. There's places where I sink in and it's not even where these graves are at or anything. But I mean a lot of interesting ones to look at. It's just endless. And that is so eye-catching with this row right here that it is absolutely hard or difficult to look at anything else. But you can see things way off in the distance, taller monuments. Kind of that Victorian style era where they would build magnificent and big ones to try to get your eye because they did not want to be forgotten. So a big one like that and up on top on the hill would be a chosen spot, and it's meant to grab your eye so that when you see that, you would naturally gravitate towards that and then walk over to it and see who it is. So since we are here, and I was just explaining that, we'll walk over and see who it is. Like I said, a lot of beauty in this cemetery no matter where you go. I've driven all around. It took me a little while to find the person I was looking for. This is McLean. No dates or anything on it. But it's definitely towards the top of the hill and really tall, and that's what they wanted. They want to stand out so they'll be noticed and not forgotten, and you'll pay them a visit. And was kind of the thought process back then. You had to have some money to get stuff like that, though. Otherwise, you were getting something that was much more simple. It's a 7-year-old there. Looks like Lillian Wallace, 1890 to 1897. Interesting one right over here I saw driving around, which is Clayton. Like I said, all of these in many cemeteries would stand out. We have France right over there. And this Clayton one is pretty unique. Show you this. There are all sorts of styles in here, though. But that one has the Egyptian influence there. And there we have Patey Clayton. There's actually a Patey Museum and Patey neighborhood here in St. Joseph. So that is pretty interesting. Like I said, there are all sorts. Some of them are statues. Some of them are mausoleums above the ground like that. You can see ones with different fence work, crosses, flat markers, upright, short and fat, towers, little bit of everything. And I would definitely want to come back here when I have more time. Unfortunately, the day is about over with, and I know they'll be closing the cemetery soon. And I think I'm one of the last ones in here. That one there is Pfeiffer. It's pretty short and wide. I will be back. So this is the final resting place for David Johnson Heaton. You can see here on the marker, it says born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, December 6, 1808. Died in St. Joseph, Missouri, April 28, 1898, age 89 years. United with the M.E. Church in 1834, a member till death. A member of the International Order of Odd Fellows from 1850 till death. In June of 1827, became a professional undertaker and funeral director, being the first in the U.S., which was presented in 1890 over 190 contestants with cold-headed cane by the sunny side, the oldest undertaker's journal in the world, and pronounced the first undertaker and veteran of veterans. So on the back here it says, born to DJ and Emily Heaton, 7 children, 5 daughters and 2 sons. Born to DJ and Lucinda Heaton, 5 children and 3 daughters, 2 sons. And then born to DJ and Elvira Heaton, 1 daughter. David Johnson Heaton was an American folk figure in the funeral industry. In 1827, he became the first professional undertaker and funeral director in the United States. This was a responsibility that was usually done by family and the clergy up to that point. He helped grow the industry and make it socially acceptable, which it eventually became that way after the Civil War. He continued in this profession until his death in 1898. He married Lucinda King on April 24, 1849 in St. Joseph, Missouri. Lucinda was born in July of 1822 and she died in January of 1860. They had a son together, David Edgar Heaton, who was born in 1855 and he died in 1921. Their son continued on in the funeral industry, and he and his wife Molly are both buried in the cemetery as well. Now, David Johnson Heaton began his business in 1842 as a furniture and undertaking company. The business continued that way until 1859 when it was destroyed by a fire. After that time, it was undertaking only. In 1872, David Edgar Heaton, his son, became an apprentice in his father's business. He purchased an interest in the company in 1874, and in 1881, he purchased his father's interest. It was continued as the D.E. Heaton Undertaking Company until January of 1911. He then incorporated his business under the name of Heaton Begole Undertaking, and it continued as such from that point forward. So thanks for watching this little episode. I hope you learned a little bit of something about the funeral industry, as well as seen some pretty awesome structures within a cemetery. At some point I'll pay this cemetery a visit again, and we'll do a little bit more history on some of the people that are in here. There's no telling who all's in here and what kind of history we can find together. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.